Hey guys, it's Sasha. I always get really entertained by these kinds of videos about other YouTubers, especially when somebody goes and tries to go and make a big video telling you everything about them is a lie and they're a fraudster and they're making everything up about their background. So now that I managed to go and get my 10,000 subscribers a few days ago and have moved from official noob to beginner YouTuber status, I thought, why wouldn't I go and make exactly the same video about myself just so that people can know exactly what my background is before somebody else comes along and tells you that it is complete fabrication and completely untrue. Also, it means that by the time that those people do come and make that video, this one will hopefully be higher than that video in the search rankings. So there's that as well. But anyway, jokes aside, let me tell you about my background, starting from the beginning. I was born and grew up in Moscow, first in the Soviet Union, then in Russia. I made some notes here so that I don't go too far off track, so excuse me for looking at them. I moved to the UK in 1999. First I started at school, then I went to university. I studied mathematics at Oxford University, which is also incidentally where I met my wife, and after that we decided to go and move to Nottingham in UK, where I started to work for a company called Capital One. This is a big US bank that in UK focuses on credit cards. I didn't really specifically try to get into the world of finance or try to get into retail banking. It just kind of happened that way. I had several different offers and I happened to choose this one. At Capital One I worked on product design, risk, financial modeling, and worked for a segment towards the end in marketing. Unfortunately, while working at Capital One during the last financial crisis, I had one of those situations where with 10 minutes notice, I got a 10-minute meeting penciled into my diary with my director. And shortly after that video, me, along with pretty much every single other person who worked in the marketing team at the time, we spent the rest of the day in the pub drinking with our cardboard boxes full of our personal possessions. Anyway, after doing that, I went and joined a company called Empower. So my job there was building models to forecast the demand for electricity and gas, starting from short-term to very long-term outcomes. And the combination of different things that flew out of the back of that, which was forecasting what power plants need to be operated when, turning off and on various wind farms and stuff like that, through to trading and the implications on being able to open and close certain positions. A combination of different reasons led me to move from there to Bank of America, which in the UK is much better known under the brand that they operated under, which is called MBNA. Again, this was mostly a credit card business, mostly because I already had the experience from working in Capital One, but they also dabbled in a few other products as well. I worked on strategy, and that kind of underpinned everything from the acquisition in terms of deciding which customers get in and which ones do not and why, and how all of those processes work, to how do the existing customers get treated, what offers are put in front of them, how does the strategy behind all these products work, so all of those kind of things together. After doing that for a couple years or so, I left to start up an online travel business called Lazy Trips. There is a lot to talk about what led me to do that and what I wanted to do that, and I probably need to make a whole separate video that I'm going to release at some point talking about the details. The objective was to sort of build a mix of a community with travel planning, with some other related features within the same thing. It sort of was a type of thing that maybe you're more familiar with from some big brands, which was a long time ago, before all these brands really existed or before they actually developed into what people know them for today. Anyway, I was working the platform and it was doing really, really well. And I was really excited, but I had only been doing it for I think 6 or 7 months, at the point when I received a call from a company called SAB Credit. This was a tiny, tiny company. I think it was something like 35 people in a tiny office in the middle of nowhere in Kent. And they had massive ambitions. They just got bought out by a private equity company called Vade Partners, and they wanted to go and become a big time credit card company. And for a combination of different personal reasons, as well as just being really excited about the opportunity to go and do really big things there, and the fact that my travel business would take quite some time to get to profitability, I decided that this was a really awesome opportunity, and so I went over there. And that was really, really exciting. Today, this company is really big. They're known as New Day, and during my time there, the company really exploded. I was looking after strategy, so everything from designing the original products, literally everything about how they work, how the acquisition process works, how the marketing processes work, deciding how existing customers are treated, everything about the strategy, working financial planning, and pretty much everything in between. It was an incredibly busy time. Some acquisition work as well. But anyway, I managed to get this opportunity to do things really, really quickly over there compared to working for some huge banks before. And that's what kind of, I think, probably set me up for some of the things I came to do later in my career. So then something really interesting happened. I joined a company called Phones for You as a director 3 months before that company collapsed. Not the best decision career-wise I've ever made, but for the first time I had to go and make a decision as to what I wanted to do with my life. This is the second point I was going through something like this, as you might recall. And I decided that I would go and start a strategy consulting business which would help banks and financial services companies with designing products, bringing them to market, and making them really work for the bank or the business themselves as well in terms of the commercials. That's kind of what I did, and I learned a lot about working in various different places before, and what I sort of became reasonably good at, I guess, through working through various different, from small companies to big companies, and in various different parts of those companies, from marketing to credit risk to financial planning to whatever it was, operations. I've kind of done that in my previous job. So that's why I started. And I started this company called Strategy Desk, and I've been doing that, running that business since late in 2014. And I've loved a lot about it. But my problem has been that I am not your natural consultant. I am not the kind of bubbly guy who goes out there meeting everyone for coffee all the time, who takes people out for dinners all the time. And that's what you have to do. That's 90% of the work of a person running a consulting business, because unfortunately, nobody really cares about how good your work is when you're going to find that next project. You have to go and do the sell. That is what you kind of have to do to grow these types of businesses. And I'm not the schmoozing type. I'm not that kind of person. So I was always thinking, like, what is the next step? What is the next progression with this? And don't get me wrong, the client list for Strategy Desk has been super impressive. You know, some of our biggest clients are companies like MasterCard, HSBC, Royal Bank of Scotland, Tesco. There's a lot of really big names in UK and around the world. And I'm really, really proud of what we've achieved as a company. But first Brexit, and then everything that happened during 2020 sort of accelerated my thinking and kind of forced me to really quickly rethink what I wanted to do with my life and how I wanted to actually go and progress from there. So a few days into lockdown last year, I started this YouTube channel, and knowing absolutely nothing about YouTube and having never really filmed a video before, which kind of shows in my early videos. But I also, in parallel with that, started working on my blogging and generally building this online content business as a thing that I wanted to go and move towards. In the process, I've had to massively change how I work and what I do. In fact, over the last couple of weeks, I've actually done very little in terms of content. You might have noticed that I've been missing out on videos. Not only have I not been doing 3 a day, I've been missing on making videos for several days in a row. And the reason for that is I've actually been really busy closing down the big London office. I've been selling furniture, computers, monitors, cleaning stuff, shredding stuff, filling in holes in walls, painting, all of that fun kind of activity. That's what I've been up to. Our office lease is up, and my plan is for this online content business to be my full-time business. And I wanted to achieve this during the course of 2021. I had some expectations of how it's going to go, and I was hoping that by the end of the year, it would sort of get to a place where it was viable to be my full-time business. But over the last couple of months, this online content business has been doing much better than I expected, and it is continuing to grow and do even better than that. And so I am really going all in. If you want to find out exactly what I am doing, what's working, all the financials, everything about the strategy I'm employing, make sure you go and sign up to my second channel, which is called The Sasha Yanshin Story. That's where I talk about all of those things. That's the entire purpose of that channel. And so my ambition now is, from March, to begin going all in and going really, really hard on the content. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to this channel and the other one. And we're going to be going really, really hard from March. So expect a lot of really interesting stuff. Thank you very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it as always. And I'll see you guys later.